What if I told you that after more than 80 years underwater, a sunken Nazi submarine has just revealed a shocking discovery that could rewrite history? Hidden off the coast of Argentina, this forgotten vessel is unlocking secrets long thought lost to time. In today's video, we're diving deep into what was found inside this mysterious submarine and why it has historians and treasure hunters alike absolutely stunned. A group of deep-sea divers stumbled upon something extraordinary just off the coast of Quequén, Argentina. Resting silently beneath nearly 30 meters of ocean water, they discovered the massive remains of a submarine unlike anything previously confirmed in the region. It was no ordinary vessel. Its size, layout, and materials immediately pointed to something far more sinister, a long-lost Nazi U-boat from World War II. The submarine measured nearly 80 meters in length, with its hull heavily corroded and portions of it collapsed from the pressure and time. Still, enough of the vessel remained intact to reveal its eerie profile. Divers noted large mooring bits, rusted hatches, fragments of periscopes, and even part of the deck gun housing. Though the submarine was buried halfway into the ocean floor, the structure above ground was unmistakably military and unmistakably German. The initial discovery shocked not just local authorities, but also historians who had long speculated about the presence of Nazi submarines in South American waters. Argentina had always been a hotbed for rumors, whispered stories of Nazi officers fleeing Europe in the war's final days. For decades, these tales were dismissed as folklore, but this find reignited old suspicions and gave them a shape, a size, and a rust-covered steel conformation. Divers noted something even more suspicious: piles of scrap metal dumped over the site, seemingly as a deliberate attempt to conceal the wreck. This wasn't just nature slowly reclaiming an artifact of war. Someone, at some point, wanted this submarine hidden. Whether to protect its secrets or erase its presence, the motives remain unclear. But the intention was loud and clear: don't let this be found. As word of the discovery spread, excitement quickly turned to speculation. What was this submarine doing here? Was it abandoned in a last-ditch escape attempt? Could it have been used to transport something or someone of great importance? The fact that it had been buried for nearly 80 years only added to the mystery. And the question that began buzzing louder than ever: why Argentina? The region has long had ties to Nazi escapees. After the war, numerous high-ranking German officials were reported to have fled to South America, with Argentina being one of the most frequently cited destinations. Some were captured decades later, living under false identities. Others were never found at all. The idea that one of Hitler's prize submarines may have completed a clandestine journey across the Atlantic now seemed more plausible than ever. The discovery marked only the beginning. Identifying a wreck with certainty, understanding its mission, and uncovering what lies inside, or what was once inside, would require months of study. But for the divers and experts who stood face to face with this decaying ghost in the past, one thing was certain: they had found something that history had tried very hard to bury. And as the investigation began to unfold, the real story behind the sunken Nazi U-boat was about to surface. Once the submarine's discovery was confirmed, the real challenge began: identify exactly what kind of vessel it was and piecing together its story. This wasn't as simple as comparing it to pictures in a history book. Decades underwater had taken a toll. Corrosion, sediment, and damage had obscured many of the submarine's features. But a dedicated team of historians, naval experts, and divers set to work, determined to uncover the truth hidden beneath layers of rust and mystery. Early analysis focused on the submarine structure. Experts immediately recognized that the vessel bore the hallmarks of German engineering from the World War II era. Its length, about 80 meters, matched the size of known German Type 7 and Type 9 U-boats, two of the most common and feared classes in Kriegsmarine's arsenal. Both types were designed for long-range missions, capable of crossing the Atlantic, which fit with the theory that the sub had traveled to South America during or after the war. The team examined the turret and the attack periscope closely, which are critical identifiers for these subs. Despite the damage, the shape and dimensions of these parts were remarkably intact. The attack periscope, in particular, bore the distinct features of German manufacture, unique fittings and mechanisms that weren't found on submarines from other navies. This was an important clue that helped confirm the submarine's origins. Adding to the evidence were the compressed air tanks, essential components used to surface the vessel, and mooring bits, which aligned with known German designs. Specialists compared these components with archival blueprints and photographs of surviving U-boats. The matches were clear, reinforcing the identification. But the real puzzle lay in determining which exact sub this was among the hundreds of U-boats deployed during the war. At this stage, the identification team faced serious challenges. Many of the identifying markings, serial numbers, hull numbers, and nameplates, had been erased by corrosion or deliberately removed. Some parts of the submarine had been destroyed by explosions, likely caused either during scuttling at the end of the war or from other unknown interventions. These gaps made it difficult to pinpoint the exact identity of the vessel. To overcome this, researchers used advanced imaging technologies, including 3D sonar mapping and underwater drones equipped with cameras. These tools allowed the team to create detailed digital models of the wreck, revealing details invisible to the naked eye. Forensic analysis of the metal, paint, and construction methods helped date the submarine and align it with the known production periods of Nazi submarines. One of the more intriguing findings was the submarine's condition, which indicated that it had been deliberately sabotaged. Holes blasted into the hull and damage around the engine compartments suggested it wasn't simply lost at sea. It was intentionally disabled before sinking. This raised questions about the circumstances of its final voyage. Further complicating the picture was the presence of scrap metal piled around the wreck, a likely attempt to cover or disguise the submarine. This added to the suspicion that the vessel was meant to be hidden, whether by post-war efforts to erase Nazi traces or something else entirely. As the analysis progressed, experts grew more convinced that this was indeed a German Type 7 or 9 U-boat. The findings fit within a broader pattern of Nazi submarines operating far from European waters, some of which were rumored to have carried secret cargo or passengers. But with many questions still unanswered, the story of this submarine was only beginning to unfold. What had it carried? Who had commanded it? And why had it ended up buried off the coast of Argentina? Each new detail uncovered was like a piece of a larger puzzle, a puzzle with secrets waiting to be revealed. The discovery of this sunken Nazi submarine unleashed a wave of theories and speculation that went far beyond the usual tales of wartime shipwrecks. Among the most captivating and controversial was a long-rumored idea that this U-boat wasn't just any vessel, but a secret transport for high-ranking Nazis fleeing the collapsing Third Reich. Some even claimed it carried Adolf Hitler himself to safety in South America. For decades, conspiracy theories have swirled around the notion that Hitler escaped Berlin in the final days of World War II and lived out his life in exile. While mainstream historians widely reject these claims, the presence of a German submarine off Argentina's coast gave these theories a fresh spark of life. Nazi hunter and historian Abel Buste became a vocal proponent of this idea. He argued that the submarine's characteristics and location aligned perfectly with stories about secret escape routes used by Nazi leaders to avoid capture and prosecution. Buste's investigations, alongside local accounts and eyewitness testimonies, suggested that some of the highest-ranking Nazis managed to flee Europe through these underwater corridors. The theory goes that these submarines carried not just military cargo, but people, officers, scientists, and possibly Hitler himself, who were smuggled to remote locations in South America, where they could live under new identities. According to Buste, these escape attempts were coordinated with help from sympathetic officials in Argentina and other countries. This idea directly contradicts official Argentine government reports, which have long denied the presence of German submarines in their waters after the war. According to those accounts, no Nazi U-boats ever operated or were abandoned near the country's coast. The newly discovered wreck challenges this narrative, forcing a reconsideration of the historical record. If the submarine truly was Nazi, and if it carried passengers or sensitive cargo, what was Argentina's role in its arrival and concealment? Other speculations revolve around what the submarine might have been carrying. Some suggest it transported valuable war loot, gold, artworks, or scientific research that the Nazis wanted to hide or protect from the advancing Allies. Others propose that it was part of a clandestine network, smuggling weapons and personnel to maintain Nazi influence in South America well after the war's official end. Skeptics caution against jumping to sensational conclusions, arguing that many wrecks like this one were simply abandoned or sunk during routine military operations. After all, hundreds of U-boats were lost during the war, and many never made it back to port. The fact that this one ended up near Argentina might be coincidence rather than conspiracy. Yet the timing and location make coincidence seem unlikely to some. The fact that scrap metal was dumped over the wreck hints at an attempt to hide it, which doesn't fit with a simple lost military vessel. The story becomes even more intriguing when you consider Argentina's documented history as a haven for Nazi fugitives during the post-war years. Numerous Nazis were known to have escaped to Argentina, living under assumed names, protected by local sympathizers. The mystery deepens because there's no official record of the submarine's final mission or disappearance. Records from the German Kriegsmarine are incomplete or lost, and post-war secrecy surrounding Nazi escape plans adds to the puzzle. If the submarine did carry key figures or secret cargo, it would explain the efforts to keep its existence a secret. While some dismiss these ideas as sensational, the wreck stands as a physical reminder that history may be more complicated than the textbook suggests. Theories about Nazi submarines as vessels of escape concealment and secret missions capture the imagination because they offer a glimpse into hidden chapters of the war and into human desperation and survival. The true story may never be fully known, but the questions themselves fuel ongoing fascination. And as new investigations continue, the secrets locked inside this sunken Nazi submarine remain as compelling as ever. After the initial discovery and identification, the next phase of the investigation plunged into the submarine's interior, the heart of its secrets. The dive team faced one of the most challenging and dangerous parts of the mission, entering the underwater vessel itself, which had been sealed and buried for nearly 8 decades. What they found inside only deepened the mystery. The interior was far from intact. Decades underwater and exposure to salt water had ravaged the compartments. Still, the team managed to explore several rooms, including control room, engine compartments, and crew quarters. The silence inside was eerie, an underwater time capsule frozen in a moment of history. Rusted metal, peeling paint, and scattered debris filled the cramped spaces, but certain objects offered clues to the sub-story. One of the most striking findings was the presence of personal belongings, items left behind by the crew. Tattered uniforms, rusted boots, fragments of documents, and even parts of old navigation equipment were recovered. These artifacts suggested a hurried abandonment or an unexpected sinking, rather than a planned scuttling with full evacuation. The dive team noted that the chaos inside indicated a rapid departure, or perhaps a sudden catastrophic event. Even more intriguing were locked compartments and sealed containers that still held items. Although many were heavily corroded, the team managed to retrieve some artifacts, including what appeared to be navigational charts and logs. The charts hinted at secret routes and destinations, possibly tied to covert operations beyond the battlefield. These documents have since been sent for forensic examination, with hopes they might shed light on the submarine's final mission. The dive team also discovered evidence of sabotage, tools and remnants of explosives used to damage critical parts of the submarine's engine room and control systems. This aligned with earlier suspicions that the submarine had been deliberately disabled. Whether this was done by the crew as a last resort to prevent capture, or by external forces trying to hide the submarine's secrets, remains unclear. Of particular interest were compartments that showed no signs of typical wartime damage. This raised questions about what had happened inside after the submarine sank. Some theorized that after the vessel was grounded or disabled, someone returned to use it as a hidden storage site, or even a secret base. The piled scrap metal outside supports the idea that efforts were made to cover the submarine and whatever it contained. The dive team also encountered unusual artifacts, unlike those typically found on military vessels. Small boxes with unknown markings, containers with scientific equipment, and what appeared to be crates for delicate materials suggested the submarine may have been carrying something valuable or experimental. Speculation grew that the U-boat was part of a covert operation involving more than just weaponry or personnel. Despite the decay and danger of exploration, the divers' work inside the submarine has been critical to understanding the vessel's story. Every object recovered adds a piece to the puzzle and raises new questions about its mission, crew, and ultimate fate. The eerie silence of the submarine's interior echoes with untold stories. Stories of desperation, secrecy, and possibly betrayal. And as experts continue analyzing the dive team's findings, the sunken Nazi U-boat off Argentina's coast promises to reveal even more surprises in the chapters ahead. To understand the significance of this submarine's discovery off Argentina, we have to step back and look at the broader historical context of Nazi submarine operations during World War II, especially their activities in South American waters. While most of the popular stories focus on the Atlantic battles in European theaters, the Kriegsmarine's reach extended far beyond, into the southern hemisphere and its strategic coastal regions. During the war, German U-boats were primarily deployed to disrupt Allied shipping across the Atlantic. But as the war progressed, their missions became increasingly complex. Some subs were tasked with covert operations, including reconnaissance, smuggling, and delivering secret cargo to support espionage networks or allies in distant locations. South America, with its vast coastlines and politically complex environment, became a key area of interest. Argentina, in particular, held a unique position during the war. Officially neutral for most of the conflict, the country was known to have a mix of sympathies, including factions supportive of the Axis powers. This created a fertile ground for covert Nazi operations, espionage, and the establishment of secret supply routes. The discovery of the sunken U-boat fits within this backdrop, where German submarines could have been used not only for military engagements, but for clandestine missions related to escape plans or transferring resources. It's well documented that several high-ranking Nazis fled Europe via South America after the war, using elaborate escape routes often referred to as the Ratlins. While many fled overland through Spain and Italy, others relied on sea routes protected by submarines and ships that could evade Allied patrols. This newly found U-boat could very well have been part of that maritime network, transporting people or valuables far from the watchful eyes of the Allies. Beyond mere escape, the Kriegsmarine's interests in South America also aligned with strategic military goals. Controlling or influencing the region could have opened new fronts or at least complicated Allied supply lines. Some historians believe the Nazis planned to maintain a foothold in the hemisphere as a fallback, a hidden base for future operations or negotiations. There were also rumors of Nazi scientific expeditions and experiments that may have taken place in secret locations across South America, funded and supported by clandestine U-boat missions. The strange cargo and equipment found inside the submarine could hint at such undertakings, research that extended beyond typical warfare. At the same time, the discovery challenges the official Argentine narrative. For decades, the government denied harboring Nazi fugitives or allowing Nazi military assets within its waters. Yet historical investigations have revealed a far more complicated reality, with documented cases of Nazi sympathizers within Argentina's political and social elite. The wreck's condition and location suggest that the submarine was intentionally scuttled or abandoned, possibly after completing a secret mission. If it was indeed part of the Nazi escape network, it represents a tangible link to a shadowy chapter of history that has been obscured for decades. The sunken submarine is not just a relic. It's a symbol of the complex geopolitical and historical dynamics that shaped the post-war world. It forces us to reconsider accepted narratives and invites fresh investigation into the true extent of Nazi operations beyond Europe. What was the full scope of Nazi submarine activity in South America? And how did it influence the continent's history during the mid-20th century? These questions linger, with this mysterious wreck now at the center of the ongoing search for answers. The discovery of the Nazi submarine off the coast of Argentina sent shockwaves through both the historical community and the general public. Suddenly, decades-old rumors about Nazi escape routes and secret operations were thrust back into the spotlight, prompting urgent calls for further investigation. But uncovering the full story of this sunken relic has proven to be a complex and delicate process, involving political sensitivities, legal hurdles, and technological challenges. Argentine authorities quickly moved to secure the site, aware that this wreck was more than just a sunken warship. It was a potential time capsule containing priceless historical artifacts and secrets. Underwater archaeologists, historians, and naval experts were brought together in a joint effort to examine the wreck thoroughly. However, the remote location and the submarine's fragile condition have made detailed exploration risky and slow. efforts to recover artifacts and documents are ongoing. Conservators face the difficult task of stabilizing fragile materials that have spent decades underwater, where salt, pressure, and marine life have taken their toll. Every recovered item is carefully cataloged and analyzed, providing new pieces to the puzzle. International interest quickly followed. Experts from Germany, the United States, and other countries with naval history expertise have offered assistance or sought involvement, recognizing the submarine's significance in understanding the broader scope of World War II maritime history. This cooperation has brought new technologies into play. Advanced sonar mapping, remote-operated vehicles, ROVs, and underwater imaging tools are now being used to build detailed models of the wreck without risking further damage. At the same time, controversy surrounds the site. Some local residents and political groups question whether revealing the submarine's secrets might reopen painful chapters or implicate Argentina in Nazi collaboration. Others worry about looting and unauthorized salvage attempts. Balancing preservation with public interest remains a delicate challenge. The investigation has also reignited debates about Nazi fugitive networks in South America. Historians are combing through archives, comparing their findings with testimonies and oral histories from the region. Some evidence suggests that the submarine might have been part of a broader operation to maintain Nazi presence or influence well after the war ended. There are also ongoing discussions about whether the submarine should be raised and preserved in a museum or left in situ as a protected underwater site. Raising the vessel would be a monumental task, with high costs and risks, but it could offer unprecedented opportunities for public education and historical research. Meanwhile, rumors continue to swirl about what else might be found inside the submarine. Some speculate about hidden compartments, secret documents, or even artifacts linked to Nazi occult interests or experimental technology. While such claims remain speculative, they capture the imagination and keep the mystery alive. One thing is clear. The sunken Nazi submarine has opened a door to a past many believed was closed forever. The ongoing investigations promise new revelations that could reshape our understanding of World War II's final days and its aftermath. As researchers peel back layers of time, the submarine off Argentina's coast remains a silent witness to a secret chapter of history, one that still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. What will those secrets reveal? Only time, patience, and careful study will tell. The unearthing of the Nazi submarine off Argentina's coast is more than just a historical find. It's a powerful reminder how the echoes of World War II still ripple through the present. This discovery has captured global attention, not only for its mysterious contents, but also for the questions it raises about history, memory, and truth. For historians, the submarine offers a rare, tangible link to a shadowy chapter of the past. It challenges existing narratives and pushes researchers to reconsider the extent of Nazi operations beyond Europe. By revealing the complexities of secret escape routes, covert missions, and post-war networks, it deepens our understanding of the war's aftermath in ways textbooks rarely capture. The impact goes beyond academia. The discovery has sparked renewed interest in Nazi history in South America, shining a light on how the region was affected by global conflicts. For many Argentinians and their neighbors, it prompts a reckoning with the past, an opportunity to confront uncomfortable truths about wartime sympathies, collaboration, and the legacy of exile. At the same time, the story resonates on a human level. The submarine's remnants, personal effects, crew quarters, and mysterious cargo remind us that history isn't just about battles and politics. It's about people, the sailors who manned the vessel, the individuals who sought escape or refuge, and the generations that followed. This discovery also fuels popular culture's fascination with secret histories and hidden treasures. Documentaries, books, and films are already exploring the submarine story, blending fact with speculation to captivate audiences worldwide. Its narrative, a mix of war, mystery, and conspiracy, makes for compelling storytelling, but also underscores a need for careful, evidence-based research. The technological achievements involved in exploring and preserving the wreck showcase how modern science and history can intersect. From advanced underwater imaging to artifact conservation, the project is a testament to human curiosity and ingenuity. It highlights how new tools can unlock stories long buried beneath the waves. However, the discovery also raises ethical and practical questions. How do we balance the desire to uncover history with the need to protect fragile sites? What responsibility do governments and historians have in handling artifacts linked to painful or controversial pasts? These are debates that will shape future underwater archaeology and historical preservation efforts. Finally, the submarine story serves as a cautionary tale about the complexities of history. It reminds us that the past is rarely neat or simple. Even decades later, hidden chapters can emerge to challenge what we think we know and invite us to look deeper. In the end, the sunken Nazi submarine off Argentina is more than a wreck. It's a symbol of secrecy, survival, and the enduring quest to uncover truth beneath layers of time and silence. As investigations continue, one thing remains certain. The legacy of this discovery will ripple far beyond the ocean floor, inspiring questions, debates, and discovery for years to come. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit like and subscribe for more. See you in the next video.